Hello, and welcome to Lunar Magic Tea Time, where we discuss all things magical, mystical, metaphysical, and sometimes even a little mundane. It is Thursday, April 30th, 2020, and it is Tarot Thursday. Yay! Um, this week I drew from a deck. I no longer have its original box because I destroyed it because I used this deck a lot. It's the Chrysalis Tarot by Tony Brooks and Holly Sierra. It's this is the little white book that comes with it. Most tarot decks have some form of little white book that come with them. Uh, this deck, I like this deck. It is gentle, it is kind, it is caring, but it also doesn't pull any punches. It reminds me of my grandmother in a way. My grandmother was a tiny little Irish woman who uh, didn't hold back what she was thinking, didn't hold back what she was feeling, but at the same time, you always knew she loved you to death and would do just about anything for you. Um, and there's something of that in this deck. This deck draws a lot on sort of a cultural identity based heavily in Greek mythology and some Roman mythology, with a couple little bits of random things thrown in. It draws on that knowledge that you kind of grow up knowing. And I'm just gonna, before I get into the card of the week, I kind of want to show you some of this art because it's just, so this is Psyche, or the world. And I mean, gosh, guys, gosh, that card is so, I would love prayer flags like that throughout my yard. That would just be more than I could handle. The Ace of Scrolls. So scrolls are swords in their cosmology, if you will. We talked a little bit yesterday in the video yesterday about you have the four suits and they can be different things. Well, in this case, their different things are scrolls, mirrors, stones. I forget the last one, but it doesn't really matter because that's not what we're here to do. Spirals. Sorry, spirals. So, and this week, our card of the week is the Weaver. I'm going to let you get a good look at her. She's absolutely fabulous. Weaving a butterfly tapestry. That's the little, I don't weave. I don't know the terms for weaving other than warp and weft. She's the Queen of Scrolls, so the Queen of Swords is a sort of equivalent. But remember, when we're talking tarot and we're talking a deck that isn't directly Rider-Waite Smith, there's not always that immediate crossover. So she's going to be a little different. This Weaver here is going to be a little different than a traditional Queen of Swords. A Queen of Swords traditionally is very go get them. And this is a little quieter sort of notion of that. But I want to talk a little bit about what a Weaver knows. Weavers know how to create, how to envision what they want their creation to be, all the way through to the creating of the creation. They know how to work the warp and the weft to create a solid piece. They know how to check the tension on the strands to make sure they're not skipping or missing bits. They know how to tie off those ends that have served their purpose. as part of the creation. They know how to bring in new bits of thread to add color or add texture or add heart to their creation. More than anything, though, a weaver sees the details in the bigger picture and sees the bigger picture in the details. They know that the space between the threads is just as important as the threads themselves. And they know at the end of the work will be a piece, a creation that is both utilitarian, as it is a textile and can be used to create clothing or blankets or other forms of protection. It's as utilitarian as it is beautiful. And this week, we're looking at using the inspiration of the weaver to create those things, to look at those things, to be aware of the warp and the weft, what strands maybe need to be introduced or left, tied off. We're looking at the cultural impact of weavers in our lives. Who's the weaver in our lives? Are we the weavers in our lives? Is there a deity maybe that's a weaver in our lives? You know, most cultures, like I said, have a weaver in their mythology, in some aspect. And so if you're looking to dive deeper into that, look up Arachne, look up the Muses, or not the Muses, I'm sorry, the Fates. Freya is said to be Freya. I'm not very good on my Norse mythology, sorry. There's loads and loads of Christian saints, actually, that are said to protect the various stages of weaving. So, you know, look into those things. When we talk about tarot, we're not just talking about that card in isolation always. We're able to bring it into bigger things in our lives. And that's always something I really enjoy doing with my tarot is looking at what the card may mean now, or what it may mean, what connections it has to the bigger world. So that is our card of the week this week, the Weaver. As always, if you have any questions or concerns, you can reach out to us on Facebook at Lunar Magic Tea Time. You can email us at lunar at lunarmagicteatime.com. Be sure to check out our podcast, which is up on Podbean and on our website. Check out our Facebook group and leave any comments, questions, or concerns. We look forward to continuing discussions and growing our little community of people fascinated by the big wide world we're in. Have a fantastic week, and I will see you next time.